Dadin.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
My name is Andina from 2B class. In this meeting we will discuss about corruption in Indonesia. Corruption in Indonesia is a serious problem that has affected various aspects of public life and government. The scale of corruption in Indonesia has long been recognized as one of the countries with high levels of corruption. Corruption spreads across various sectors, including government, politics, police, judiciary, private sector, and development projects. And now in this meeting, we will discuss about this topic together, and I will introduce you about my group. The first is Tacha,
Hello everyone, my name is Annisa Damayanti.
and then Salwa,
Hello, my name is Salwa Salsabila.
and then the last one is Ochi.
Hello everyone, my name is Hoshi.
Let's move to the topics, which about I will ask you a question about what do you think of the corruption rate in Indonesia, Salwa?
I think the corruption rate in Indonesia is quite high, meaning there's a widespread problem with dishonest behavior in how things are managed. For instance, in recent years, we haven't seen scandals like the eKTP corruption case, where money meant for electronic identity cards was abused, and bribery scandal involving a judge from Constitutional Court. These cases sit like on the extent and of corruption within various sectors of Indonesian society. I think that's is, for example, in corruption in Indonesia, and corruption in Indonesia is quite high. That's my opinion.
What do you think, Ochi? It will be so much case about corruption in Indonesia. You will add one.
Make
So my opinion is kind of similar with Salwa. I think the corruption rate in Indonesia is quite high. It's pretty high. But only a few cases got exposed to the public. Why can I say that? So back in the day when we had election. So there's one website that I saw. So there were a bunch of lists of corrupt legislative candidates, and I never knew that, and I bet we never knew that because that's not being exposed enough to the public. So that's kind of unknown, I think. And the number of the corrupt legislative candidates was not small at all. And that's only from one aspect. So, and also the case that, the example of case that we know right now, the hot topic is Indonesia lost to 271 trillion as a result of corruption obtained by Harvey Moise. That's it.
What about you, Anissa? Do you have another example?
Okay, I think the level of corruption in Indonesia is currently quite high. Currently, quite a lot of corruption cases have been revealed, and who knows how many have not been revealed by the Corruption Education Committee. And there are several examples of corruption cases in Indonesia, including the governor of Papua, Lukas NMB. He was arrested last year Then there is Syahrul Yassin Limpo, former Minister of Agriculture, who was erased last year too. Hasanul Kosasi. And the last, like Ochi said before, is Harvey Muiz. He was just erased.
Okay, let's move to the next question. There are a lot of questions about case of corruption. Example, what do you think of the root of the problems? For me, I think the root of the problem about corruption is that it arises from a person's personality, such as a great people who are extremely greedy or obsessed with wealth and power may tend to engage in corrupt practices for personal gain. What do you think, Michelle?
So, opinion. So we're talking about the root of this problem, right? Well, in my opinion, the root of this problem, maybe it comes from a family upbringing that always demand more, and that making a person never satisfied about or with what they already have. And also, maybe there's something wrong with the religious and humanity aspect from this person because corruption is an act of dishonesty and destroying or taking other people's rights. So that's just wrong, and maybe there's something wrong with themselves, like the value of themselves. That's my opinion.
What do you think, Tata?
I think the root of the problem of corruption can come from first factor, maybe unclear transparency, weak law enforcement, low service of public official, and lack of awareness of the moral and, and legal consequences of acts of corruption. I think it's that.
All right. If we talk about corruption, how do we deal with corruption issues? Salwa, what's your opinion about that?
In my opinion, to fight corruption effectively, we need to do several things. Like first, we need stronger laws and organization decided to fighting corruption, making it difficult for anyone to be corrupt without facing consequence. We also need to make sure that everything is done openly and that people in charge are responsible to their action. This means like having a strict checks in place and encouraging leaders to be ethical and honest. Both in government or businesses, uh, like that. Additionally, it's important to build a culture where honestly is valued and everyone feels that they can speak up against corruption. I think that's my opinion to fight corruption in Indonesia.
Right, I agree with you, but in my opinion, it will be better if we impose a punishment that is serves as possible to the determine of the perpetrator, such as confiscation of his property or blacklisting his business, because what he did was take away other people's rights for his personal satisfaction while he already got his share outside of his corruption activities. The next question is for you guys because as a university student, what can you contribute to face this problem? Who wants to go next? Michelle, do you have an opinion about corruption as a university
Okay,
student?
so my opinion, right? I think as a university student, the thing that we can do is be vocal about it, be vocal about the corruption. Um, so the way is we can raise awareness by being vocal about corruption. By raising the awareness, we can educate our peers or our younger generation about the impact of corruption. Other than that, we can advocate for transparency by pushing the transparency from the government by demanding enforcement. That's it.
What do you think, Tata?
Maybe I can do is get education. Maybe just not me and for all of people get education about the impact and influence of corruption on the country. We might get this from seminars or something else. Then maybe by joining an organization that focus on anti-corruption. The last thing is to get involved in the anti-corruption field, corruption campaign and supporting movement fighting for transparency and accountability in government.
All right, what a good idea. But what about, do you agree with the idea of the death penalty for corruptors or not? And why? Salwa, can you give your opinion about that?
Okay. Uh, Maybe some people think that giving the death penalty to corrupt individuals could scare others from being corrupt. However, others worry it might not actually stop corruption and it raises big ethical questions. Instead of just punishing people harshly, it's really important to take the root causes of corruption. This means making the rules stronger or making sure laws are enforced properly and making everything more open and honest. I think that's my opinion.
Michelle, what about yours?
Well, I don't agree about the death penalty because, well, I'm not speaking on the humanity side for them. And I know that death penalty takes a long time to be imposed. And why I don't agree about this idea because I kind of, well, in my opinion, I want them to suffer as long as it could for them in jail with, well, with notes, no special treatment for them, no special cell. Like we know that people that have money could buy a special cell in jail, right? So and taking away all of their property. That's my opinion.
What about you, Anissa?
Yeah, I have same opinion like OT. I disagree with the idea. I know the acts of corruption carried out by corruptors are very detrimental to the country, but being sentenced to death, I do not agree. I think maybe for the punishment for corruptors is life imprisonment and repression for their action. Just that. Thank you.
All right. This will be the end of our meeting. Thank you for seeing this video. And what we hope for the future is high public awareness. It's like expectation to increase public awareness of the negative impacts of corruption and strengthen integrity and anti-corruption values at all levels of society. And an active role of media and civil society, expectation to see strong independent media and active civil society in mentoring the government and public institutions to prevent and expose corruption cases. All right, that's all from us. Thank you for this meeting, guys.
Thank
Assalamualaikum
you.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Thank you.